Welcome back to another edition of the Night Report podcast. I'm your host, Mike Broadbent. Joining me once again is my co-host, Richie Schneiderite. Richie, we have a lot to talk about. We got some baseball news, which if you're hearing this now, you might have already read the press release, but Rutgers baseball is getting a new facility, and we teased a facility update a few weeks ago. But they're getting a new baseball stadium off campus. We'll go all into that. We got some basketball news, the Jeremiah Williams commitment. They leave for their international trip next Tuesday, August 8th. Then we got some football stuff. The recruit barbecue was this past weekend. Big Ten Media Day was this past week, and camp starts on Thursday. Let's dive in right off the top, though. The baseball team is getting a new stadium. It is a partnership with Middlesex County. Tell us a little bit about this project, and is it the final not the final resting place? Is this the final home for Rutgers baseball?
No, the program is still alive. It is not dead. It's not their final resting place, but it gives them a little bit of a stopgap for now that you get your own stadium. So it's going to be built at Middlesex, formerly County College, Middlesex College now. It's going to be built on their campus. I don't know if it's going to be where the baseball, I don't even know what you call it, facility, I guess, because it's just like a high school thing for the most part, where the baseball field is currently, or if it's going to be at the field behind it at Thomas A. Edison Park, I think it is. So it's going to be somewhere over there located on their campus, it seems like. It gets you a stadium. You've needed a stadium for, I don't even know how long. It's been rough.
Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, I've seen high school fields that, I hate to say it, that look better than Rutgers' current setup. So the fact that you're going to get a stadium and you're going to be the main tenant is huge. Now, mind you, I'm sure Middlesex County is going to give it to Middlesex County College if it's on their campus to use as well. I'm sure they're going to do other stuff based on the press release. It sounds like they're also going to do concerts. It sounds like lacrosse and soccer is also a possibility there. And then it gives everyone in the county like an opportunity to go somewhere to go play like the state championship games. Now, obviously, you wish that was at Rutgers, but you're going to have Rutgers apparel, everything there. I know all the requests they're taking into consideration are all coming strictly from Rutgers because Rutgers is the main tenant of this place. There's no questions about that. I know there's, like I just said, they're going to share it with the county. They're going to share it with the county college, but this is their facility for the most part. Now, it's based on the renderings, it looks like it's going to be called Middlesex Park for now. I'm sure that's going to change as soon as the sponsor says, "Hey, we'll give you $1 million." And there
exactly.
You go. Yep. Now it's going to be the Cure Arena, the Cure Ballpark, or the Poland Spring Ballpark, or any one of those other facilities in New Jersey that has a random name. Maybe Jersey Mike's Ballpark. You never know.
Okay. Let's keep up the themed branding there.
Yeah, might as well just keep with this whole Jersey thing. It's so it says it's a 3 to 5 year deal. And it's not going to stop them from upgrading Dayton, too. So they're still going to play a couple games at Dayton. I'm sure midweek games and random games that are against no-name opponents are going to still be played there for the most part. But other than that, it seems like they're going to use this facility. And it's only maybe 15 minutes down the road from Rutgers, so it's not too bad. And you get a ballpark. You needed this forever. Now, everyone's going to complain. And I know everyone's, because number one, no one's ever happy. Number two, they're going to be like, it's not on Rutgers campus. This is BS. No, but it gives you time to build one now. You need money at the end of the day. And if no one's fronting the money for a baseball stadium, this is a good stopgap. The county's going to pay for this. You don't have to pay, I don't know what the extent of it, but it doesn't sound like Rutgers is paying much at all for this. So it is a nice facility. Kind of reminds me, gives you a little bit of a feel of like a Somerset Patriots Stadium, which again should have been built at Rutgers too, but that's an argument for a different day. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with this. I think this is going to be big for Rutgers, and you finally get a stadium that can actually broadcast networks and stream. The fact that you couldn't even do that at Dayton was an embarrassment in its own right. So you get to watch Rutgers baseball on TV in the future, starting in 2026.
Yeah, no, I was going to mention that if you didn't bring it up, but yeah, currently the facilities aren't even equipped to handle, the Big Ten Plus offerings. So that's definitely a huge L. They don't have, they don't have real grandstands. It's just like those erector set stadium seats. So this will give Rutgers a huge facelift in terms of its baseball program. It's a huge win for Rutgers because you're not footing the majority of the bill. I'm sure there'll be some amount they have to pay either in rent or to help facilitate the stadium to be built, but it'll be minuscule compared to what it would cost to build your own stadium. And it leaves the door open to either build a better ballpark at Dayton or to use that land for other things, because as we all know, there's a lot of programs that want something built on campus right now, and there's not much space to put this stuff. So
yeah, let me see if I could pop it up real quick, actually. And window. There we go. Here we go. I mean, overall it looks pretty nice. It's not loading, is it?
It's loading. It's just taking a second.
Oops, I messed it up again. Just see if I can do that, if that works. Nah, it's not going to load. It seems like whatever. It is what it is. Oh, there we go. Yeah, see, like it looks pretty nice. Like it looks like a solid facility. I'm not going to guess on a capacity, but I'd probably say around 5,000-6,000, which is really all you need. There's some other ones too, I think. Front view looks pretty nice. That little weird, actually. I don't know what this thing is, but whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure this isn't actually the final thing because it's going to change for the most part, but you got lounge seats, which is huge.
Yep.
People always love the club seats, and you can get a couple drinks, it looks like, and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
More lounge seating. Oops, shoot, too far. Little rough rendering from Middlesex County, but I mean, hey, what are you going to do? But yeah, it looks pretty solid. Yeah, it looks really nice, and the second view is also kind of cool up here. Whatever, that might be the luxury if I had to guess, actually.
Yeah,
but standing only seats, it seems like, over here, and all that good stuff. Like, I mean, I think it's a nice little setup, and it's going to be a big venue, and Middlesex County wants to make this venue the go-to athletics facility for anything New Jersey. And now you're going to be able to host concerts, and maybe the soccer team goes there for something else, and maybe the lacrosse team goes over there, so they don't use Greg Schiano's Football Palace over there, and you just kind of divvy it up a little bit. I mean, I think this is a win-win-win all around, because it gives you time to build other facilities on campus while doing renovations, while also having a place to still play. So
yep,
it's a win.
Yep. And that'll be for the 2026 season, like you already said. So a few more years of Dayton, and then they'll transition over to Middlesex Park.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they'll also play some additional games at Dayton throughout the year.
But 3 to 5 year plan, so or the agreement, whatever it is, partnership. So it gives you, I want to say 2021 or 2020, Jesus, 2031. Yikes! Until to build a new facility at Dayton or / the softball field too. And then we've posted the renderings that they kind of want to do there. They want to do like a joint thing with the concourse. So maybe that gets built by 2031. Who knows? Ideally.
Who knows? Yeah, ideally it does, but things have sped up drastically under Pat Hobbs, but things still take time. There's still people who are not going to be happy that they're not being prioritized, or that there's not a shovel in the ground for something. But I think this is a unique opportunity for Rutgers in the state of New Jersey for a true win-win partnership.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Huge news for Steve-O and the baseball program. Let's move on to basketball. So we missed the instant reaction commitment last week for Jeremiah Williams.
Yes.
I was not in the area. I was unavailable. So let's talk about Jeremiah Williams. We've brought him up probably every other podcast, at least for the whole month of July. This is a kid who started out his career at Temple. He played 2 years, transferred to Iowa State, tore his Achilles before last season, entered the transfer portal again, committed to Illinois this offseason.
Yep.
Illinois sounds like they dropped him because they didn't like his medicals. Then he went back into the portal again. He visited Rutgers, I want to say a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And then he ended up committing to Rutgers this past week. So tell us about his game and what to expect from him in terms of when he can actually get on the court.
Yeah, so technically, if you watched, I'll give a shout out to Brian Fonseca here because he found it before I could. He posted the highlights of Jeremiah Williams the other day. So he tore his Achilles last October, it was, and he's already running around and playing on the court. So it's not like he's far away. Now, after I talked to Jeremiah, he told me he wasn't 100%. He's probably around 75 to 80%. So he's getting there. But the fact that he's making dribble moves and stops, pivots, all that stuff on that Achilles is huge. Now, he still needs a waiver. And it sounds like he's probably going to miss the entire season because of that waiver. It's your second transfer. The NCAA is being relentless with that stuff. Yes, they're afraid of getting sued in some right, but when it comes to the waiver stuff, it's just not going to happen, it seems like. Maybe they could try to potentially push for it, but the fact that he has really no connections to Jersey or the coaching staff at all, it's kind of going to hurt them a little bit. But this is a really good get. I think this is going to be a great player. Is he going to start next year? Hard to say. I know I put him in my original starting, and then someone's like, "Yeah, you forgot Mag," and I'm like, "Oh shit, never mind." But yeah, no, he's going to be a key player. He's a really good defender, on-ball defender too. He's just, and he can score. Like if you watch that little highlight clip, which is in the background right now for me, he's not bad. Like he can drive to the rim, he can hit the three. Mind you, it's just pickup ball, so it's a little bit different. But even in his Temple highlights, like he's not a bad player on offense whatsoever. And I've been told he's a really good team player. So I know everyone's already thinking way too far ahead and saying like, well, what if he graduates and only stays here for a year? That's college basketball. You're only here for a year. That's it. Like that's college football too at this point. It's 1 year and you get a new team every single year for the most part, especially hoops because there's only 13 players or 13 scholarships, I guess. So it's a great commitment, great addition, and big first win for Marlon Williamson.
Yeah, so this is just to go dive into his stats. So he didn't obviously play at Iowa State last year because of the injury, but in his 2 seasons at Temple, he started 37 games. He averaged 32 minutes a game, shot 42% from the field, 27% from three, which isn't ideal, but it was only on 2.5 attempts a game. He shot 64% from the line, but that was on 3.5 attempts a game. He averaged 3.5 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 1.3 steals, and 9.4 points a game. So he kind of, sprinkled in a little bit across the stat line. He's known for his defense, so this is kind of like a Bud Light version or a Miller Lite version, whatever your light beer favorite is of Caleb McConnell, where he's not like a polished scorer, but he's got some room for upside, but he's a really good defender. This is a guy who's going to bring much needed experience too to the 24-25 teams because, who knows who's going to be on that team. I can't imagine he's going to leave after, being at Rutgers for a year. Like Rutgers is known to be a good developmental program. He could use some sanding of his rough edges. But this is a guy I'm excited about. I don't know if he'll be a day one starter, but he'll be a heavy contributor off the bench for sure, and a defensive specialist.
Oh yeah, easily. Like I said before, like if you're gonna get Dylan and Ace and Gavin out there at the same time, you're gonna need some defense. So whether that be him, Mag, who knows if Mag even stays next year? Like the roster changes every single year now, and that's just how it works. And I know you said you think he'll probably stay, but at this point, you can't guarantee anything. I thought Cam Spencer would stay. That one didn't surprise me too. I thought Mulcahy would stay. But I mean, look, now he's over West Coast making more than 6 digits. Not 6 digits, but significant.
Six figures. He's making good money.
No kidding.
So this is a big commitment, but he almost certainly won't play this year for 2 main factors, like you already said, whether it be the waiver, whether it be the injury. So he should be fully healthy by the time that the waiver, or after the year out, that he has to sit. So, additionally, for the basketball program, they are leaving for their overseas trip on August 8th, which is Tuesday of next week. There's going to be a few players who aren't going to end up playing during the overseas trip. Do you expect the full roster to be fully assembled by the time they leave for Dakar?
It should be. They're waiting on, they have 2 open ships, put it like that. Waiting on Austin Williams. We're still waiting for him to get his grade back. It sounds like August 2nd is the final deadline for them to submit that grade. Now, will he play with the team? I don't know. I really don't know if he will. I think he'll join them just to bond with the guys a little bit, but I don't know how much he would actually play realistically. In all reality, these games really don't matter. It's more about bonding as a team, doing all the other stuff. But yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call, but he's going to be a Scarlet Knight. It's just a matter, like we say every time, it's when, not if. And then that last ship usually goes to a walk-on. Peichel usually rolls it over, but it sounds like Oscar Palmquist might be taking that scholarship. He was in Jersey this past weekend. I can confirm he's still in the student database, so I don't know if he ever enrolled at Elon. I'm trying to figure it out. I don't think he did, because it's a heck of a process, first off, and it's not like he just went like boom, 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 boom. Like, no. So we're kind of just waiting to see an announcement from him as well, because it sounds like he will be returning to the Banks. And I know I say 13th scholarship, but if in reality, if you do the math based on Jeremiah Williams not playing, I think he's ahead of Jamichael Davis. I think he's probably ahead of who else on the roster? Mawat Mag's kind of not healthy. He is, but he isn't. Like, he's getting there. I'd be shocked if he played game one. And Emmanuel, and there's two big men fighting for backup big man spots. So he's more of like a ninth guy. So he's going to play minutes. Like Oscar Palmquist is going to play significant minutes for his team, if pending his return, even though it's probably going to happen. So both great additions, and that will fill out the roster. Now, should they both be back for this trip? Yes, but I'm going to say Oscar's more familiar with the program. He'll probably play. Austin, maybe a couple minutes, but he's a 7th-year vet. Like, you don't need these veterans out there. And one of our hoops residents on the boards, NJ Hawk, said it best. This is a trip for, like, those games are for those younger guys. It's for Simpson, for Davis and Griffiths and Chol to get good minutes against quality opponents and kind of just let them get a feel for this level of the game. I know it's a little different because it's not college, but it's still going to be fast-paced because these are professionals they're playing against.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because Rutgers has quite a few players who were born in Africa or lived or grew up in Africa. Like Mott Mag, well, he grew up in mostly Australia. He was born in Sudan. He moved when he was 2 years old. Manuel Agbol is from Nigeria, I believe. Cliff's from Nigeria. Antonio Chol is from Sudan.
Yes.
So it'll be cool for these guys to just. I don't know if any families will be able to travel in to watch their games, but it would be cool if a lot of their family members could watch a few games while they're, a country away or in the same continent for once, because we both know it's not easy to get to the United States for a lot of reasons for these families to watch their sons play. So I'd love to see if they end up having family members show up or able to show up.
Yeah, and I know no one wants to talk about it, but it's got to be mentioned. NIL, they can now, all those guys you just mentioned, all the guys that are on visas and this and that and from overseas can now make a little bit of money.
Yep.
And it's sounds like it's not just a little bit, but for some specifically.
Yeah.
I think we know which one.
I'm happy for a lot of those guys who can finally cash in a bit.
More than deserved for one specific guy. Yep.
It sounds like a few of those guys won't play on this trip too. Like, I think you might have mentioned it, but Mawat Mag won't play. Manuel Agbol won't play.
Jeremiah Williams.
Jeremiah Williams won't play.
Like I said, if Austin Williams gets on campus in time, I'd be a little shocked if he played. Maybe just to gel a little bit, but it's not going to be anything like super significant either.
Yeah. So we'll have more on that next week when they actually, depart. I'm sure more details will come out.
Yeah.
When it gets closer, but moving on, let's talk about some football. Rutgers had a big recruit visit weekend this past weekend. They had a barbecue. I believe, was that at Shiano's house? Or was that on campus?
Shiano's house, because it's technically considered on campus, I think.
Yeah, because Shiano has a house that's literally, I think, less than a mile off campus.
It's
based
like
on NCAA rules. You
2
can
blocks.
consider that on campus. Yeah. We're not going to dox them, but it is very close. So tell us about how that went. I know we had a great recruit reaction article from Alex Gleitman. So tell us a little bit about how that went and some players that really seem to be digging Rutgers right now.
Yes, so they did kind of 2 days worth. Friday was an underclassmen event where it was more of like a, hey, let's go work out in front. It's kind of like a camp, I guess. It's like an elite camp. So they worked out in front of the staff, and you saw some new guys get offers. I know we posted one article already on Liam Thorpe, who's a 2025 out of the Hun School. It's going to be one to keep an eye on, obviously, because Hun School is kind of becoming a little bit of a feeder program for Rutgers for the most part. But yeah, no, they had John Forrester, who's one of New Jersey's top guys. They had Bo Jackson, not related, but also full-blown stud on campus from Ohio, number 124 in the country. Khalid Campbell out of Clearwater Academy. He's a Canadian kid. You guys have probably saw him before on the boards, if you're on the boards, because our Florida analyst, John Garcia Jr., posted about him. He's very, very excited about Rutgers, loves the whole Canadian connection there. He's one to keep an eye on. They just hosted so many underclassmen, notable underclassmen. And then on Saturday, they hosted a bunch of commits. It was a bunch of commitments, 2024 committed guys, and then Caden Brown, who's not committed, but kind of is a little bit. Like it's a weird situation. He's got some stuff he's got to deal with off the field, but if he's not in this recruiting class, I want you to come back to this video and just roast me. But it's not going to happen because he more than likely will be in this committed. Jeez, can't talk. Recruiting class when it's all said and done. And when they do get him eventually, it's going to be a really explosive player at a premium position, and it's another huge win and a big feather in the cap for Marquise Watson. So great weekend overall. It sounds like everyone kind of bonded, had a good time, and it's we're just kind of waiting on Brown's commitment, and then that's really it. Then they're going to shift to 2025 and portal too.
Yeah, their class basically is almost full for 24, but it's great to hear these really glowing reviews from some of the top players or their top targets in 2025 and 26. I know you've talked about Forster for a while as somebody to watch at 25, who Rutgers is doing really well with. Sounds like Bo Jackson from Ohio really enjoyed his visit. Not that Bo Jackson, not related to that Bo Jackson, but he has the same name, but he's a high 4-star in that class.
Yep.
I truly think that if Rutgers can kind of get over that hump this year of getting to 6-6, maybe having an upset, looking competitive at least in most games, like you're still gonna. It's so tough to really hang with like programs like Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, and when you play them every year, even with this realigned conference, it's really tough to truly not look embarrassed at some point. But if you can, maybe upset a Wisconsin, maybe upset an Iowa, get to 6-6, make a bowl game, not get embarrassed, like. I truly think the floodgates could open. It's just New Jersey's so much of a prove-it state that you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt ever. You just need to go out there and prove it. So Rutgers, I think they're on the precipice of the prove-it stage. It's just they got to go out and do it. And I know that Schiano kind of mentioned that in his Big Ten Media Day, and this will be a transition to that, how he basically, they've seen progress internally, but ultimately all that matters is, are you winning or not? Because that's ultimately going to dictate everything else. So what did you hear at Big Ten Media Day from Schiano and the players that went? I think Johnny Langan, Aaron Lewis, and Deion Jennings went. Anything that really stood out to you from Big Ten Media Day?
Well, starting off with what you said about the going forward with the new schedule that's going to come out next year, or not, I guess it already did come out kind of for the most part. Greg, they asked him about it, and then Greg even kind of laughed. He's like, "It's the same schedule for the most part. Like you changed one team, and it's like, yeah, here you go. Here's a harder team." But
Indiana, the team that you've beaten twice in a row. Let's give you Iowa instead. How about that?
It wasn't UCLA.
It might be UCLA.
Yeah, right. I think it's UCLA, and I'm like, just okay, go ahead, go cross country and play a better team. So they talked about that. He talked about obviously naming Gavin Wimsatt as the quarterback one, which is the first time he's done this before training camp since and don't quote me on this, but I believe it's since Mike Teal, honestly, because Chase Dodd and Gary Nova were always fighting for it. Gary Nova or Chase Dodd and Tom Savage were fighting for it. I don't think even Savage was named starter before game one because I think wasn't it Dominic Natale, or was that a different year?
Yes. So Dom Natale started that season. We played Cincinnati. We were getting our doors blown off us. I think it was 2009. And then he got benched at halftime, and that was the Savage show the rest of the year.
And then even then, I think Savage was competing with Dodd. I know he won the job to start the season, but then I think Dodd pushed him, and that's when Dodd's takeover kind of came into play.
Yep.
And it was Dodd again, and then it's like, oh, no, Gary Nova's coming in, so Gary Nova's pushing him. And then that whole rotating quarterbacks every other game.
Yep.
This is the first time he's done this in a long time. So he talked about that. He talked about his confidence in Gavin. It's going to be interesting to see how much that played an effect in Gavin's confidence going forward, because you need him to be a full-blown stud. It's coming down to him at this point because O-line's starting to get better. They're starting to look more like a better O-line. They're going to be a little bit of a veteran presence too between Curtis Dunlap, Iroin Brown, Holland Pierce. The right side's what really scares me. Unless you switch Dunlap to right or keep him at right guard. I know he's playing left guard in spring, so it's a little tough there to see what he does. But yeah, I mean that right side of the line kind of really worries me. But between that and Wimsatt, that's really it, because the receivers are now there. I think Jaquay Jackson's a stud. I think Nassim Brantley's really good. Who else? Chris Long has a lot of potential. Rochelle, Christian Jermel. Keep going on and on, but it's he didn't really say much. He's very excited about Shiraka coming back too. And then they always ask the typical question. It's like, how important is it to keep kids from Bosco and Bergen and all them to stay home? And no shit, it's important. Like, it's just a dumb question. I hate when the national media asks it because it's like, you don't think if he could get them, he would get them to stay home? Like, and mind you, he's got a Bergen Catholic kid committed right now. So, like, it's the first one in a long time, and it's a good one at that. So yeah, I guess I hate Big Ten Media Day for shit like that. Just do it locally. Let the local guys ask the questions. You still televise it like you do every other press conference, and it would make so much more sense because you get better questions and get more in-depth stuff. But instead, they let some random Illinois guy be like, "Hey, like, what do you think of the Big Ten West this year?" And it's like, I don't know, dude. We play like 2 other teams. We don't give a shit. Like, it's just I don't know. I hate Media Day personally and then it's a bunch of coach speak too at that. Like, don't get me wrong, Greg's a phenomenal public speaker. He looked great in that panel with the Big Ten Network panel. But like half the time they're just laughing, making jokes. Like, they're not even talking anything like of value. And then you mentioned the 3 players. Aaron Lewis he might as well be the spokesperson for this program going forward. For this year, next year.
He really impressed me with just how personable he is, how comfortable he was on camera. Like, he kind of, you were talking about this off the pod, but he kind of reminded me of how Rob Gronkowski is on like Fox when he's in studio analyst. He's just got like so much enthusiasm. He's a little goofy, but he doesn't have like, he doesn't say like outlandish things, but he's just very passionate about really everything. And he's lighthearted and he clearly knows his shit. So really, really cool to have a potential another Rutgers media guy, maybe in the future, since Rutgers has had between the Women's World Cup having like half the panelists being Rutgers grads. You have the McCourty brothers killing it. Like, like Rutgers can really recruit on, being in the media capital of the world. And, our guys, not only do they have success on the field, but off the field, they stay in the sports game, they stay in broadcasting, and they're killing it. I mean, obviously Sean O'Hara, like, our guys are killing it. It's awesome to see.
No, he's definitely got a bright future post NFL career, obviously, because I'd be a little shocked if he wasn't an NFL draft pick next year. I think I hate to say it, I'll tell you now, but he's probably one more year and done, and that's it. He's just that good. Deion Jennings spoke pretty well too. Johnny Langan, same. They're both I would assume all 3 would probably be named captains going forward.
Yep.
I know. I don't think Shauna named any yet. I got to double check on that, but. I mean, all 3 were great spokespersons for the program. They all said the right things. It's just Aaron Lewis had a little bit more juice to him, but overall, it was a good media day. Nothing crazy was said, and you got out of there with no losses, I guess. Only wins.
Yeah, and I don't think anybody expected Shiano to put any bulletin board material out there.
No, never does.
But I think he said more this year than he typically does, especially with like the announcement of Gavin being the starter. That was huge. Normally he keeps that as like this really tight-lipped secret, like he did last year. I think last year was a little bit different because of the injury, but clearly they're all behind Gavin, and we'll see how things go because it's so important early in the season to really rack up those wins, because if you don't have 4 wins coming out of September, the prospects of making a bowl are pretty slim. So we'll see how things go.
It's going to be an interesting game 1. I know the new interim head coach of Northwestern was doing the same thing. He didn't say anything bad, just kind of was like, ask me what you have to ask me, I'll move on. Just keep going. So week 1's going to be quite the storyline for not even Rutgers, for their opponent more so. So we'll see who would have thought.
I know. And that'll be, it's on a Sunday at noon on Labor Day weekend. That'll be a game that has a lot of national eyes, mainly to see how Northwestern handles the whole scandal they've gone through this offseason.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's definitely gonna be an interesting one. I know I don't like the decision to put it on Sunday personally, on a weekend like that too, but what are you gonna do?
Yep. It gives us a national game. We'll be on CBS, so
there we go.
You're good.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be nice to be on a national broadcast, but not ideal time-wise, but we'll take it.
Yeah, what are you going to do? So.
All right. The last thing we have football-wise is that the training camp starts on Thursday for the 2023 season. So there'll be a press conference, obviously. Rosters will come out. Are you expecting anything substantial on Thursday?
No, it's going to be the same old. You're not going to get a whole ton of information. You'll get some. Don't get me wrong. We definitely do get some good info. Whoever you guys want to hear from, they let us request ahead of time now of player wise. Now I can't guarantee we're going to get these players, but whoever you guys want to hear from, throw it in the comments, throw it on the boards, DM it to me. Say like, hey, I don't everyone say Gavin Wimsatt, because we all know like we're all going to request Wimsatt probably every week if we can. But if you have a request for like a specific player in like any storyline, I know we're going to request the big names every time for the most part, but maybe we'll reach out to, I don't know, Holland Pierce and get his story a little bit more in depth, or trying to think of a random name, Sean Bound. Like we're going to get the transfers, obviously.
I was going to say the transfers would probably be the most interesting from my perspective, just to hear their stories, how they're liking Rutgers so far, blah, blah, blah.
And then how many people offered you NIL.
Right.
All that good stuff. But if you guys have any requests whatsoever, feel free to shoot them in the comments, our DMs, etc., the message board. I'll do my best to get as many interviews as possible. I know Thursday is when it officially starts, and then I believe the next 2 Saturdays or 2 Saturdays after that, whatever it is, leading up to the season, will be scrimmages. They're going to practice 2 days a week we're allowed to go. And the third day would be that scrimmage too. So gonna be an exciting time. It's football season's here. This is it.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. Can't wait to see how the team sounds like they're doing. And maybe, I don't know, because in the spring, a lot of times you're just getting people acclimated with the offense. You're not actually like installing a ton. You're just kind of getting people up to speed. Yeah. And so what you hear and what you see in the spring is usually a lot different than what you see in training camp.
Oh, yeah.
That's about it for me. What else you got for the people before we leave?
I got one more thing, and I want to talk about it real quick. And I actually kind of want to get your thoughts, because I know my thoughts on this. Clemson, Florida State, Washington, and Oregon. It's the rumor for the Big Ten. What do you think about that? I don't know. I mean,
It's clearly, I mean, anybody who doesn't have their head in the sand knows that this is like the Power 5 has become a Power 2 between the Big Ten and the SEC. And it's kind of like you're boxing each other out. Like, you probably know if you're not taking a Florida State, you're not taking a Clemson, they're going to go to the SEC. That makes them stronger. So you have to determine if it's worth it to kind of push aside some of the stuff that you've kind of stood on for a while, like the AAU membership. Neither Clemson nor Florida State are AAU institutions. They're not particularly known for much in terms of academics, period. They do have I think they're the only programs outside of Ohio State who have won a national championship in the last 15 years.
True.
And outside of Ohio State that are not SEC teams.
Yes.
Sorry, should have clarified that. It gives the football conference more clout, but it kind of puts aside some of the academic stuff, which is fine by me, but the Big Ten kind of really prides itself on that. I don't know. It's conflicting. It's going to come down to the numbers, obviously. Is this going to beef up the package the rest of the programs make? If it does, then I'm for it. If it doesn't, I think it's kind of pointless.
Yeah, I mean, and the other thing is like, you said that, like the AAU thing, and if you want the AAU thing, you probably go, Virginia, UNC maybe?
Virginia, UNC, yep.
Yeah, which I like the UNC edition, especially from a hoops perspective, because SEC hoops it's good, don't get me wrong, but it's not, I think the Big Ten's better. And then you get UNC at it, and Virginia's a great program too in their own right, so.
Yeah, both programs have won a national title in the last decade. They've both been number 1 seeds in the tournament multiple times. UNC I think they've made 3 national championship games in the last 10 years.
So. Yeah.
They've won 2. So,
and then there's the Oregon and Washington thing. I feel like you need to add them kind of for the most part, just because you can't have USC and UCLA traveling this much, that much constantly, whether it be football, basketball, or any other sport. It's just, it's tough. So add those 2, just give them a little a pod over there, I guess, the West Pod, Big Ten West Pod. So
I do wonder what happens to the Oregon States of the world,
They're dead.
the North Carolina states. Like, where do all these programs end up? Is it just like an AAC type thing where you take all those and kind of coalesce them into one shitty conference?
Oh, that's where if you're the Pac-12, you're already dying. Just try to merge with them and beg them to merge. And you could call it the ACC still, but probably can't. But the All Coast Conference, maybe I don't know, whatever it is. I think you just try to merge if you're those two, because the Big 12 they're plucking teams from Pac-12.
Yeah, the Big 12 is definitely cutting the most throats out there right now. They jumped the Pac-12 in terms of their TV deal. The Pac-12, I believe, is up a year ahead of the Big 12, with the Big 12 it's a little more motivated, and that's I think they're getting pushed. The Big Ten's getting pushed right now by those Pac-12 teams in terms of like Oregon and Washington floating it out there that they're applying for membership to the Big 12. Who knows if that'll actually happen? Colorado left for the Big 12 after I think they realized they didn't really have a home anywhere else.
Any other options? I mean, good move on their part, but if you're Oregon and Washington, I know everyone keeps talking about if you're the Big 12 commissioner and the Big 12 schools, do you say like, yeah, we'll take you for 2 years until the Big Ten wants you? And I'm like, yeah, probably, because it's survive or die at this point, or adapt or die. And I think you take them and you just kind of bank on. They're not going to stay, so it doesn't really matter. But you just bank on the Big Ten maybe not taking them. Just pray.
Yeah,
it's tough. It's going to be interesting. I don't know what the hell is going to happen next, but it sounds like they're going to add at least one more school, whether it be Arizona or UConn. I know it sounds like the Big 12 kind of starting to vote against UConn. It sounds like a little bit, but it sounds like that's option number 2, because they want Arizona first. But then where does Arizona State go? Like, you still got rivalries that you kind of got to protect a little bit, I would think, right? At the very least.
I think the death knell to the rivalries is when the Texas A&M went to the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Like at that point, it was clear that they don't give a single fuck about traditional rivalries, the history of college stuff. Like, that was like, okay, if these two programs are separating and they basically are never going to play anymore, okay, then college athletics, in terms of the local rivals, the history, like, nobody cares. This is all about money, so they really don't care about splitting up rivals. It's clear.
That's true. I mean, hell, what do you call it? Almost every Big Ten school has a rival, technically, though. Not Penn State, which is weird in its own right, but I don't know. This is going to be an interesting couple of months, because it sounds like the Big 12 or Pac-12 has a meeting tomorrow to discuss, emergency plans, like hit the nuke button, maybe blow it up, add San Diego State. I don't know. The whole thing is going to be interesting. And the cool thing is if you're Rutgers, you kind of just sit back and watch.
Yeah. Rutgers got its seat at the table early before the true chaos hit, and you always got to thank your lucky stars for that one, because had it not been for the Big Ten throwing us a lifeline when TV deals were so tied to like cable subscriptions and markets, like, people don't care about markets anymore. Like, if Rutgers was trying to get in on this now, like, cool, you're in the New York market. We're in an industry that's dying rapidly. So
that's all I got.
One thing that I forgot, the Big Ten Network has their annual fall campus training camp tour that starts next week. They kick off on Monday, I believe, in Indiana. Sorry, is that Sunday in Indiana? It's the 6th. Yeah, so it's Sunday. They'll be at Indiana. They're going to be at Rutgers on Wednesday the 9th. So you're going to see more. I mean, I'm looking. Oh, that's from 5 years ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to say it's August 4th, Nebraska. So they're starting this week. Yeah.
I don't know why that would be the first result on Google, but my bad. So it's going to be on Wednesday, August 9th, but they are starting it this week on Friday at Nebraska.
Yes.
So Wednesday the 9th, you're going to see, obviously, the Big Ten Network is going to feature Rutgers all day. You're going to see more footage at a camp than you would anywhere else, because I don't know if you remember from last year, they were allowed to film. You had that one throw from Gavin Wimsatt that lit Rutgers Twitter on fire. So be prepared next Wednesday, because you're going to get more content than probably anybody's going to be allowed to put out for the rest of the week, for the rest of the summer for Rutgers football. So
100%.
Speaking of Aaron Cruikshank, though, he had a highlight reel catch from training camp for the Bears too. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen it. I know you retweeted it. He had a crazy one-handed, like, it was a fade route into the end zone. And like red zone drills, and he just caught this like crazy twisting one-handed catch to So it sounds like he's having a pretty nice camp. I don't know if he'll make the team or not, but it's always a good sign when you're creating viral clips in training camp if you're trying to make a team.
He had one. Avery Young had one. There's also a clip out there of Antoine Winfield Jr. also raving about Christian Izien with the Bucks. Like this is, It's been quietly a very good training camp for Rutgers rookies. So we'll see if they make the team.
Yeah, Rutgers has had historically a pretty high hit rate for undrafted guys too. I don't know if there's any numbers behind that, but it seems like a lot of Rutgers undrafted dudes end up making more than you would think.
Yeah.
NFL rosters. Like Trey Avery was an example last year. Guys who have done it seemingly every year.
I'm glad you said Trey Avery. And there's one more thing I want to bring up. So we did the Madden rankings last week. They did him dirty. He got a 62.
Oh, jeez.
Avery Young, Christian Braswell, Christian Izien are all above him, and they're all rookies. But Trey Avery had a hell of a fucking year.
Yeah, no, he was one of the best rookies, period, last year, regardless of a position.
He had a great year, and they screwed him over. Don't get me wrong. I mean, hey, it's 91 speed, 92 agility, 92 acceleration, but 59 man coverage when the guy was basically on an island half the time and stopped large majority of them. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, playing for a guy like Mike Vrabel down in Tennessee, that is not easy to get in as a undrafted rookie playing his defense. So.
Yeah. So I mean, Madden, I don't know what's going on over there, but they also had several Rutgers players who are free agents, so I guess that's why they don't list them. But they had several free agents that weren't listed at all. I know Kamoko Toure also just signed with the Falcons. Yeah. So he wasn't listed, although he'll probably be in there in the first update as soon as they do all that stuff. We'll see if he can make some noise too and try to make the roster spot too. So it's not a lot of NFL Knights currently, but there's some high ones. Like Pacheco got an 80, Edwards got a 77, Burton's a 69, nice. Croft 69, nice. Bo Melton 68. Sebastian Joseph, they kind of did a little dirty too. They dropped his ranking from an 80 to a 75. I wasn't happy about that one, but Willington Prevalon. A lot of people don't remember him. He's in the game still. Tampa Bay Bucks. So we'll see what happens. But Clark Harris wasn't listed. Sanu, Sean Ryan, Cruikshank actually wasn't listed either. Fadakasi, who also was making some noise recently, I saw with the I think he's with New England now. Logan Ryan, Deron Harmon, Clark Harris, Bless Austin are all free agents, so they're not in the game either. But I'm sure we'll get some updates going on that. We might have to update it throughout the season, kind of like they do, just the Rutgers version.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think Clark Harris has announced his retirement, but I know he got hurt last year, and they replaced him as a long snapper with a younger guy. He's 39 now, turns 40. Or I guess he just turned 39. So probably the end of his career, but man, what a career he had for a guy who got drafted in the 7th round as a tight end in 2007. Played 15 years as a long snapper in the NFL.
Yeah,
not bad.
He was the highest paid at one point too, wasn't he?
Yep.
Yeah. So, and long snapper, you will continue though, because Andrew DePola is still the Minnesota Vikings long snapper.
Yep.
So,
all right, guys. Well, thanks once again for listening. Thanks to all the people who have liked, subscribed, reviewed. You guys have been awesome with doing that. Just keep it up if you haven't. If you haven't, also, come on, help us out.
Yeah.
Help your boys out.
What are you doing? Come on.
Yeah.
One of these days we got to do I know we keep saying this. Got to do a little bit of drinking on this podcast.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I mean, I've been. This is vodka, but.
It's nice when there's some kind of announcement happening. Like the tournament announcement would be nice. This past year it would have been pretty fucking sad if we did that.
Oh God, imagine we just had a champagne. It was like.
Yeah, every time Rutgers isn't called out, you drink.
Oh God.
Oh jeez.
64 drinks. Wait, no, more than that.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Jeez.
But once again, thanks for listening. This has been another edition of the Knight Report podcast. Signing off.